Welcome to Found on TikTok. I'm your host, Jamal Radio Raheem. Now, Found on TikTok is a music podcast where we find topics from all over the internet, from TikTok to Instagram, Reddit, wherever they're talking about music. I'm going to find it. I'm going to talk about it. Sometimes I have guests. Most of the time, it's just me speaking. Now, in this episode, we are talking about Usher, Usherraymond. Usher Raymond. We're going to talk about him. So without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? So the reason why this topic has been on my mind is because of a video that I saw on the internet, on TikTok. I was scrolling and I'm gonna just play the video.
Usher is the king of R&B. I will say this on this podcast, and I hear you. I hear you.
No,
there's a guy.
say what you talk your shit.
There's a guy in jail that people like to talk about.
Yes.
I will argue
Yes.
that a lot of his songs sound the same. Ooh. I will argue that there's a tonality, and there's even with the songs that he's written for others, you know that guy wrote that song. Usher's songs, You Make Me Wanna, doesn't sound like Nice and Slow, which doesn't sound like Caught Up, which doesn't sound like Superstar, which doesn't sound like Confessions, which doesn't sound like You Remind Me, which doesn't sound like My Way, which doesn't sound like each and every other song. Usher is the king of R&B. And this is me, and I gotta look at camera too. This is me saying it. Usher is the king of R&B. And you can now, I'll take the DMs and I can get cussed out or we can get argued about or whatever. I'm telling you what I know.
So the topic that they were discussing of Usher being the king of R&B, and you know what? I'm going to say he is. I agree with this statement. Usually when they have this conversation, I feel like they be putting people who aren't qualified. But I feel like Usher, his catalog, his track record, everything that he has done has shown them that like he's the king. You know what I'm saying? He got hits in every era, classic albums, like great features. Like Usher is that guy. Like this man is literally doing a residency and he's performing songs that some of them are 20 something years old. Like Confessions came out almost 20 years ago, guys. Some of the songs are almost 30 years old that he's performing. And it's just showing the longevity, showing the consistency. Like, if you get Usher on your song, no matter if it came out in the 90s, 2000s, even now, that's a hit. That's a hit. And he has worked with everybody. The who's who of artists, from Beyonce to Jay-Z to Nicki Minaj. Like, he's worked with great artists, and he always does his thing. He never gets overshine. You know what I'm saying? Nobody outshines Usher on a track. Whether it's your track or his track. You're not going to outshine Usher. He always does his damn thing. I believe he is the king of R&B. I believe that his track record has shown that he's the king of R&B. I think you can make a case of certain people being the kings, but none of them are really doing what Usher is doing. Like, the man is still putting on live performances and killing it. He is killing it. Like, I literally saw Usher twice this year. I saw him at Dreamville, and he killed it. When I tell you he killed it, like, I was pleasantly surprised. Like, we had people arguing next to us, and I forgot that even happened when he came on stage and did his damn thing. Usher killed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, perfect headliner for a festival. And then he did Lovers and Friends, which was his festival in Vegas. And I still enjoyed his performance. He brought out hella people, did his thing. Like, Usher's so good. Like, people of all ages get excited about a Usher feature or a song. Like, Usher drops a song, everybody listens. No matter how old you are. Your mama's listening. Your sister's listening. Your younger brother's listening. I'm listening because he is that guy. Man has classic albums. 8701, Confessions, My Way, like the singles. Like, come on. Like his albums are like, they always have big singles, and there be songs on them albums that like you're like, that could have been a single. That could have been, like, it's just so damn good. So damn good. I personally think Usher is the king of R&B. I think that certain people shouldn't even be mentioned. Like I think the only people you could really make the case for being the king of R&B are like guys like Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, like older guys. There's no modern artist that can even be in the conversation with Usher. He's in the conversation with those guys. And those guys, I think king is not enough of a title for them. Like Stevie Wonder, I don't want to call him God, but he's like God. Like when it comes to this music thing. So there's not a better word to describe it, but like Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, I think they're in a different type of conversation. Like any other male artist that you name, they're not touching Usher. They're not even. They're not. They're not. And I'm gonna put a clip in of something else the guy said, of something I really wanted to get into. So here it is.
The guy in jail that people like to talk about.
Yes.
I will argue
Yes.
that a lot of his songs sound the same. I will argue that there's a tonality and there's even with the songs that he's written for others, you know that that guy wrote that song.
All right. He mentioned R. Kelly, and this is how I felt for years. I just avoided talking about R. Kelly because obviously what he did is crazy. And honestly, his defenders online, they disappoint me every time, and I get sick like hearing them talk. And I just didn't want to deal with them if I'm keeping it a stack. And but what he said is so true. Like R. Kelly is a one-trick pony. I'm not gonna say R. Kelly doesn't have hits because that is a lie. I would be lying to the world saying he doesn't have hits. But like everybody always talks about 12 Play. 12 Play has like 4 songs. That's like all right, 4 songs. The real thing is y'all were just horny. That's all it shows. Y'all were just horny. That's all it is. Like when y'all reminisce on R. Kelly, you're reminiscing on like your little wild nights you had because like he doesn't do anything special. He really doesn't. Like it's the same thing over and over and over. He is a one trick pony. He is. Like if we're like taking we're not even discussing his his heinous acts that he committed. We're not even talking who he is as a human being. We're not talking about that. We're talking strictly the music and one trick pony. One trick pony. I stand on that too. I don't think he does anything great. I don't think he's ever done anything great. I think he has hit records, and the people who defend him, it's very telling. He's not even in the conversation for King of R&B. Man doesn't have one good album. He has good singles. Most of y'all were just horny, and I'm gonna stand on that. He's not the king of R&B. I don't care who has said he's the king of R&B. I don't care. I feel like he's not the king of R&B. I feel like his albums weren't that good. And y'all can say like, "Oh, you weren't there. You don't know," and blah blah blah. I wasn't there when 12 Play was released. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't. You know, I'm 31. I wasn't. But I can go back and listen to those albums and I can tell you they were not that good. Y'all were just horny. Now, I'm going to take a break and then I'm going to tell you why Confessions is the greatest R&B album of all time. Stop counting cash, don't you forget. Nothing's forever. One day you're dead. All right, there have been R&B albums that come out. There have been classics, you know what I'm saying? You can name the album. Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, Off the Wall, Baduism, Brown Sugar. All those albums are fantastic. Songs in the Key of Life, fantastic albums. But you know what the greatest R&B album of all time is? Confessions. Confessions by Usher is the greatest R&B album of all time. And I'm saying it with my whole chest. There is not an album that is messing with that album. Like the biggest song on the album was Yeah, and that's the worst song on the album. You hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying? The biggest song on the album is the worst song on the album. Yeah is the worst song on that album, and it's a banger. It's a banger. You know what I'm saying? Like every song on that album goes. Every song. My personal favorite song on there is Superstar. But what this album did for the game is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Every song on there was damn near a single. The features that he picked on there, fantastic. You know what I'm saying? Usher was really in his bag. Like Confessions Part 2, Burn. Like, come on. Like, what are we talking about right here? Like, there's not a skip on this album. And those other albums are fantastic. I ain't gonna take away from them albums. They're fantastic. I can't deny the impact that Baduism had. I can't deny Songs in the Key of Life. That's one of my favorite albums ever. You know what I'm saying? That's one of my favorite albums ever. But Confessions is just something different. Something different about Confessions. And it aged perfectly. It aged so well. Like, Usher can perform that album just alone in a verses, and he's beating your favorite artist. He's beating Chris Brown off of just Confessions. Not any of his features, not any of his other singles, just off Confessions. Put an R&B artist, a modern R&B artist not named Beyonce, against Usher, he's wiping them out with just Confessions. Because that album is that good. Greatest R&B album of all time. I don't care what you saying. Argue with your mama. You feel me? That album is fantastic. That album has so many bangers. That album is just consistent. Like, who can make an album that's basically saying they cheated and everybody loves? Everybody loves. Especially a male artist saying that. Come on. Come on. And they not call him toxic. You feel me? Like, Confessions Part 2 is toxic. That song is toxic. He cheated. Nobody calls him toxic, though. Nobody. The album is fantastic. It's a banger. The greatest R&B album of all time. From production, songwriting, to the man's vocals. Everything about that album is just top tier. Top tier. And it's not taken away from them other albums, because they're great. They just ain't Confessions. Ain't another album like Confessions. And while we're on this, let's get Usher for the Super Bowl. Let's get Usher for the Super Bowl. Confessions is almost 20 years old. It's almost 20 years old. I think this is in 2024. I think that it's going to be the 20-year anniversary of Confessions. Why not have him for the Super Bowl? The man can perform. He could perform songs off Confessions. He got enough hits. He could go back in his catalog and perform all of that type of stuff too. Let's get Usher for the Super Bowl. I've been saying it for a while now. I've been saying it since we had the Dr. Dre West Coast Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? I've been saying that. Rihanna gave us a performance last year. It was okay. You know what I'm saying? You know what's not going to be okay? Usher. Usher come on that thing. He going to kill it. He gonna kill it. Not only is he gonna kill it, he can bring out so many people because he got a song with everybody, with literally everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got songs. He's featured on songs by like Pitbull. He can bring out Pitbull. He got Beyonce on songs. He can bring out Beyonce. Got Hove on songs. He can bring out Hove. He can bring out Nicki Minaj. He can bring out anybody. You feel me? Usher for the Super Bowl. We need that. The culture needs that. The world needs that. We need Usher for the Super Bowl. Like, I've been beating this drum, and I'm going to continue to beat the drum until we get it. Usher for the Super Bowl. Who else do we want to see? We got Beyonce already. You know what I'm saying? The only person that I will be satisfied with is Bruno. And that's it. But I want Usher before I want Bruno Mars. And I'm the biggest Bruno Mars fan that you got out here. I'm the biggest. And I need a Usher Super Bowl. The culture needs it. The world needs it. You know what I'm saying? Put some respect on Usher Raymond's name. Put some respect on his name. Put some respect on it. Like, that Super Bowl will be so fantastic. That halftime show. Because my Rams probably ain't going to be in it. So I really don't give a shit about the Super Bowl. Hopefully the Rams are in it. But if they not, the only way I'm watching it, if we get an Usher Raymond Super Bowl show, that's what I said. I'm going to stand on it. And with all of that being said, this has been Found on TikTok. I've been your host, Jamal Radio Raheem. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that type of stuff, man. Share this with your partners. Share this with your friends. And I'll catch y'all next time. Peace out. Peace.